pretend that it was for something noble. Racism, it wasn't so. It was really because she wanted fame and she wanted wealth. And, I don't want to say that Prince Harry was an unwitting participant. I think he obviously is not as smart as her, but also...
Make it end. Make it end. What is this? Guys, I feel like I'm a very accepting person. Truly, I want to like something about her. I'm searching for something to like about her. And it's so hard because she suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human. Do you know what I mean? I listened to one episode. It was just scripted nonsense, feminist drivel. It was like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Having on various women that are super A-list talk about issues that nobody cares about. I'm not kidding, like her first episode.
Another day, another Meghan Markle PR move. Seriously, does it ever stop? This time, Meghan really thought she could flip the narrative by strolling in without makeup, hoping the world would suddenly see her as the real Meghan. But let me tell you, Candace Owens was not having it. She didn't just side-eye the stunt. She went full throttle, calling the whole thing fake and dragging Meghan in front of everyone. What Meghan wanted to be a heartfelt, stripped-back image quickly turned into what critics are now blasting as her most tone-deaf stunt yet.
She wasn't a very good actress, and so she figured out how to maneuver that by marrying a prince who, the only way to say it is, he's just not as intelligent as her. He's not reading.
And then, boom, Candace Owens unleashed a no-holds-barred verbal takedown that literally shook Hollywood gossip circles. This wasn't just a little clapback. It was an all-out demolition. Owens came out swinging, and her target was none other than Meghan Markle herself, the Duchess who, as Candace put it, should really be renamed the Duchess of Woe Is Me. The shade was strong, and it was only just the beginning.
Reading it, and he has been subjected to her manipulation. And I do also want to say this because it's really important of why their story became so big, and her using the Black Lives Matter movement, which was very big at that time before people started to understand.
Owens didn't pause for breath. She accused Meghan of basically turning authenticity into performance art. Her words? Brutal. Meghan has become the face of inauthenticity in today's celebrity world. What should have been a chance for Meghan to show some soul ended up as nothing but a staged PR circus. A setup so perfectly polished it had no rawness left in it. Instead of honest tears, it felt like a scene rehearsed for the cameras.
Oh, from when I was at Hollywood Schoolhouse, maybe I was probably Archie's age. Oh yes, because our kids got their report cards, so I was thinking about memory lane.
Candace wasn't done. She flat out called Meghan's act manipulative, pretending to walk in vulnerable and broken, when really all people see is a woman clinging to her luxury and privilege while crying for sympathy. Owens said it clear, that's not bravery, that's manipulation dressed up as vulnerability.
After taking a break, I guess, Meghan Markle is back. And she has released a new Netflix trailer. Now, just to give you the background of this, if you're wondering why she's doing this, it's because...
With that, Candace flipped Meghan's entire game plan upside down. Meghan thought ditching the tiara, dropping the title, and stepping out barefaced would convince the public she was relatable. But Owens cut right through it. It's not authenticity when you're still dripping in privilege. And then came the line that broke the internet. It's a costume, and frankly, the audience is over it. Ouch.
Get back to your question in a second, but you'll like this, where you're going through, and that's when grades weren't A, B, C, D at that age.
Yeah.
It's right, like satisfactory, unsatisfactory, or I don't know what the best one would be, but it came to ability to throw and catch a ball.
The backfire was instant. Meghan's grand plan to win hearts with her podcast appearance blew up in her face. And who was leading the charge? Candace Owens, of course. She didn't just toss out a few critiques. She shredded the podcast with Jaime Kern-Lima, ripping it apart until all that was left was glitter and fake tears.
She kind of sold her soul to the devil. Obviously, she's always wanted to be an A-list actress. She never wanted to be a princess. I called that from the very beginning. She wanted to be amongst the A-list because that was her life goal.
Candace even compared Meghan's performance to a middle school talent show, saying it was like watching someone trying to cry on cue. That one stung. The crowd gasped, social media exploded, and that single savage comparison set the tone for what quickly became one of the most brutal takedowns Meghan has ever faced.
Yeah. It's so inauthentic. This is why she was never going to be more than like a D-list actress on a basic cable show. She can't.
Here's the kicker. Meghan really tried to open up on that podcast, talking about fame, emotional struggles, the weight of her royal exit. She thought it would inspire sympathy, but Candace and a whole lot of viewers saw something else entirely. What they saw wasn't honesty, It was a stage performance. Meghan's every pause and every teardrop looked like they'd been carefully positioned for the perfect camera shot.
And the talent couldn't carry her there, so she married a prince and then was invited into those circles. But of course, to afford the lifestyle of living in Montecito, to afford the lifestyle of what it means when Oprah Winfrey is your next door neighbor, you gotta make some money.
Everything screamed set design instead of authenticity. The lighting was too soft, the angles too perfect, and the host's nods? Please. They looked more like she was reacting to a cheesy soap opera than to a friend's real heartbreak. Instead of connecting, it looked like a sad attempt to sell raw pain wrapped in studio polish.
We're in the pursuit of joy. Love
I
is
can't
in the
take it anymore. Get
details.
out, get out, get out. Uncle.
And Candace wasn't alone in thinking this. Social media lit up, calling the entire setup suspiciously curated. From Meghan's outfit to the camera shots, it all looked like a Hollywood version of struggle, not the reality of it. Instead of gritty tears, Meghan gave us a magazine-ready cry session.
It's why she became the princess of BLM, because what's one of the biggest principles of Marxism? The breakdown of family. Black Lives Matter on their charter stated that they wanted to deconstruct the nuclear family.
Owens zeroed in on Meghan's so-called no makeup look. Meghan clearly thought she could scream, "I'm just like you" with that move. But instead, Candace roasted her.
Trying for more than anything is for us to love her and want to be like her. And she can't get it across the finish line. And all of this is exhibit A as to why. And by the way, Jamie sitting there petting her hair, like that's a professional hairstylist who did that job.
Candace ripped into it, saying, "It's the fakest real look I've ever seen." No foundation? Maybe. But the designer casual clothes, the perfectly styled hair, the glow from flawless lighting, that wasn't vulnerability, that was branding. Meghan wanted relatability, but what she served was just another strategy to stay marketable.
Meghan Markle, people have been wondering what it is that she's going to do, because when she first did her Spotify series, and I think that deal was $25 million, Spotify lived to regret it immediately. It was breathy, it was awful.
And Owens wasn't alone. Critics online were ruthless, flooding comment sections with memes, snarky eye rolls, and even side-by-side photos mocking Meghan's attempt at relatable cosplay. Celebrities pretending to be normal but forgetting to actually dim the glam? Yep, Meghan just became the poster child.
As she does in every single interview, because she has to remind us that she has a proximity to him that none of us have. Who wants it, lady? None of us. H. Here's the origin story of that.
And it wasn't just Meghan catching heat. Podcast host Jaime Kern Lima got torched too. Candace slammed her as overly sweet, painfully rehearsed, and basically just Meghan's hype woman. Not a real interviewer, but a prop to set Meghan up as the poor victim. Candace quipped that Jaime's reactions were so scripted they made Hallmark movies look like real life. And instead of asking Meghan the hard questions everyone wanted answered, Jaime just set the stage for Meghan's victim story. It wasn't a podcast. It was a PR stunt wrapped in buzzwords. According to Candace Owens, the entire podcast wasn't an interview. It was a therapy session dressed up as self-help, but really just a PR stunt to fix Meghan's image. The whole thing was about making Meghan look misunderstood, iconic, and oh so vulnerable. But here's the catch. It flopped completely. The public's reaction? We're tired. Tired of the same old act. Tired of the endless tears. Tired of Meghan's "I'm just like you" routine that comes with $1 million backdrop. Meghan wants the world to see her as a struggler, but she refuses to step out of the luxury spotlight. And that, as Owens made crystal clear, isn't inspiring. It's manipulative. By the end of her savage takedown, Owens had left no doubt. Meghan's sympathy tour had officially collapsed. The Raw Duchess act wasn't selling anymore. People facing real struggles, rent, bills, jobs, weren't buying the tears of someone crying from a mansion with flawless lighting. Owens cut straight to the truth. If you want people to believe you, start by being real. Right now, no one's buying it. When Meghan launched Archetypes, it was hyped as bold, empowering, groundbreaking. A podcast that would rip away labels and spark meaningful conversation. With a fat Spotify deal and a star-studded guest list, expectations were sky high. But instead of redefining the audio space, Archetypes fizzled out. Fast. Listeners went in hoping for nuance and depth, but what they got was Meghan's personal grievances wrapped in shiny packaging. Instead of opening doors for women, it turned into Meghan talking about Meghan, again and again. Conversations drifted, themes blurred, and the vibe leaned less empowerment and more "look at me." Despite all the polish, the show never found its rhythm. It didn't invite people in. It shoved Meghan into the spotlight once more. Critics aimed, the public yawned, and the curiosity quickly turned into indifference. And then came the knockout blow. Spotify pulled the plug. No renewal, no next season, just silence. For all its noise at the start, Archetypes ended in a whisper. Behind the scenes, insiders whispered about missed deadlines, creative chaos, and a lack of direction. It wasn't offensive, it wasn't shocking. It just didn't connect. Owens summed it up bluntly. It wasn't a movement, it was a monologue. Next came the big Netflix docuseries With Love, Meghan. Marketed as Meghan's most vulnerable, stripped-down project yet, this was supposed to be the big reveal. But instead of authenticity, critics like Owens saw nothing but vanity parade. The cameras loved Meghan a little too much, lingering on every smile, every sigh, every designer outfit. It felt less like a documentary and more like royal cosplay. Owens didn't hesitate. It's not a personal unveiling. It's a showroom, even worse. Some insiders, like a celebrity chef approached to appear, bailed before filming, calling it fake before it even aired. And when the people you ask to co-sign your story are walking away because they can smell the inauthenticity, that's not just missing the mark, that's losing control of the whole message. For Owens with Love, Meghan wasn't just a one-off fail. It was proof of a pattern. Overpromise, underdeliver, and drown it all in PR polish. Candace's bigger point was brutal. Meghan's problem isn't ambition, it's obsession. Every project feels like another campaign, not a confession. Every tear, every pause, every perfectly lit close-up screams PR strategy instead of sincerity. And when everything feels like it's been run through 10 filters, the story loses its soul. As Owens put it, people aren't begging for perfection, they want sincerity. But Meghan keeps serving us polished illusions, and the world's patience is running out. The result? Disillusionment. Audiences aren't connecting anymore. What once demanded attention has now become background noise. The cracks in Meghan's performance became impossible to ignore when old footage resurfaced of her bragging she could cry on command. Suddenly, all those tearful moments that once seemed raw looked staged. Every quiver, every pause, every drop of water down her cheek seemed rehearsed. And so, the whispers turned into headlines. Was Meghan truly hurting, or was this just another tool in her PR arsenal? Owens and her army of critics didn't hesitate to pick the second option. Rather than fading into the background, Meghan doubled down, trying desperately to rebrand herself as relatable everywoman. But instead of gaining sympathy, people started calling her a master manipulator, constantly recalibrating, constantly reshaping, but losing grip of reality with every move. What once was empowering is now seen as performance art of pain, and the public is officially done with it. Her recent podcast appearance, a textbook case. Meghan positioned herself as a working mom juggling everything, but she's doing it all from a Montecito mansion, surrounded by staff and luxuries. Relatable? Please. Real women are working 2 jobs, raising kids without nannies and scraping by. Meghan's version of struggle? Attending PR meetings in designer jeans. The audacity of it all left women everywhere rolling their eyes. Even her no-makeup look during that podcast screamed staged. The perfect glow, the soft lighting, the carefully tousled hair, it wasn't raw, it was a production. Owens nailed it. Meghan's brand isn't authenticity, it's marketing. And now, the backlash has exploded across platforms like X, Reddit, and YouTube. People aren't calling her misunderstood anymore. They're calling her a pathological liar. Terms like professional victim and malignant narcissist are trending right alongside her name. The gossip world is unanimous. Meghan isn't telling her truth. She's running a reality show nobody asked for. The irony? Meghan's every attempt to sell vulnerability is having the opposite effect. The more she tries to prove she's just like us, the more obvious it becomes that she's nothing like us. Every authentic moment collapses under the weight of its own choreography. Even her own supporters are starting to walk away. What was once empowering is now exhausting. Candace Owens' words hit hardest in her final blow. Meghan Markle isn't giving us authenticity. She's giving us a reality show that no one wants to watch. And with every staged tear, every polished pity party, people are tuning out faster. The question now is simple. How much longer can Meghan keep playing the victim before the world finally closes the curtain? So Meghan thought she could sell us tears, vulnerability, and authenticity. But Candace Owens ripped through the illusion in one savage swoop. If this was Meghan's comeback plan, it backfired louder than her Spotify deal collapse. The world has spoken, and the act is over. And the act is over. And the